The Harrison house stood at the edge of town like a monument of forgotten time, its cracked windows and overgrown garden whispering stories no one dared to speak. When the Miller family moved in, they believed it was only a house in need of repair, unaware of the past that rested behind its silence. The first evening carried an unsettling stillness. Floorboards creaked without reason, and a cold draft moved through the corridor even when doors and windows were shut. At the far end of the hallway was a wooden door darker than the walls surrounding it, locked with a rusted keyhole and framed with cobwebs as though untouched for decades. No one questioned it out loud, yet every member of the family felt its presence like a watchful eye. Over the next few days, strange details accumulated quietly. Muddy footprints appeared every morning, leading from the locked door toward the living room, though no one in the house remembered walking there. At night, faint whispers traveled through the walls, threads of words too quiet to understand yet impossible to ignore. Sometimes it sounded like sobbing, sometimes like someone softly calling for help. Rainy nights were the worst. During a thunderstorm, when the electricity cut out and darkness drowned the house, a thin line of warm light glowed beneath the locked door, steady like a candle that should not have been there. Curiosity turned into tension, and tension turned into fear, but no one spoke about opening the door. One afternoon, while searching the attic for old furniture, the family found a small brass key wrapped inside a brittle envelope. An old sentence was written on the paper in fading ink: "Do not open at night." The message offered no explanation, only a warning that deepened the mystery hanging over the house. The mother wanted to throw the key away, the father argued that mysteries were only superstition, and the children stood still, uncertain whether fear was irrational or instinctive. As shadows grew long and night approached again, the house seemed to wait, silent and aware, as if it knew the key had finally been found. As the night settled thickly over Harrison House, the warning on the envelope became a silent battle between caution and curiosity. The family avoided the corridor deliberately, yet the locked door felt more alive than ever, breathing in the stillness. Hours passed without incident, until the clock struck midnight and a single thud echoed through the hallway, slow and deliberate. The light beneath the door returned, brighter this time, stretching across the wooden floor like a hand reaching outward. The father, determined to end the fear once and for all, picked up the brass key with a steady face and an uncertain heart. Against the protests of his wife and the trembling silence of his children, he walked toward the door, each step heavier than the last. The wind outside roared, rattling every window, while the house itself seemed to hold its breath. He pushed the key inside the old lock, and it turned with a soft click that sounded far too easy for something untouched for decades. The moment he pushed the door open, the light vanished, swallowed by darkness so deep it felt unnatural. A cold gust rushed out, carrying with it the scent of damp earth and old sorrow. Inside the room stood nothing but a rocking chair facing the wall, moving gently as if someone invisible had just risen from it. The room was small, covered in dust except for one clean circle on the floor where the chair rocked. Suddenly, a portrait hanging crooked on the far wall caught their eyes. It showed a woman in a white dress, her expression calm but hollow, and her eyes eerily similar to the mother's. Beneath the portrait lay another envelope, newer than the rest of the room suggested. The father picked it up. It bore the same shaky handwriting: "If you unlock this room, do not leave it unattended." The meaning hung heavy, unanswered. When the family stepped out and closed the door again, the rocking chair continued moving even though no one remained inside. And from behind the wood, the whispers returned, clearer now, no longer random or distant. They formed a single sentence that froze every soul in the corridor: "You should not have opened it." Morning arrived, but the house no longer felt like the place the Millers had entered days ago. The air was denser, colder, as if the night had crept into daylight and refused to leave. The family avoided the hallway, yet the locked door seemed to follow them through every room, inside their thoughts, behind their footsteps. Whispers continued even under the sun, faint but persistent, like someone pacing just beyond the wooden barrier. At breakfast, the youngest daughter, Lily, stared blankly at her plate, claiming she had dreamed of the woman from the portrait sitting beside her bed, watching her sleep. The mother tried to assure her it was only imagination, but her trembling voice betrayed uncertainty. Later that afternoon, Lily disappeared. The house was searched room by room, every corner, every drawer, but she was nowhere. The living room window was locked from the inside, the backyard gate untouched. Only one location remained, though no one wished to say it aloud. The father approached the door again, but this time it was already ajar, opened silently at some unknown hour. Darkness poured out like thick smoke, though no light was turned on. Inside, the rocking chair was still in motion, slower now, almost expectant. In the corner lay Lily's small ribbon, placed neatly on the floor, untouched by dust. When the mother stepped inside to retrieve it, the door slammed shut with a violent crack that shook the house. Panic erupted. The father and son pushed with all their strength, but the door refused to move. From inside came the mother's screams, terrified, echoing, then abruptly silenced. When the door finally gave way, the room was empty. The chair was still, the ribbon gone, the portrait torn down as though scratched by invisible hands. Only a new note lay in the center of the floor, freshly inked, as if someone had been waiting for them to read it. The message was clearer than any before: a debt taken. A soul kept. 3 remain. Fear spread through the Miller family like a sickness. The once restless house was now alive with intent, and every second felt borrowed. The father insisted they leave immediately. Suitcases were thrown open, belongings stuffed without care, but when they tried to exit through the front door, it wouldn't budge. Not a hinge moved. Every window they smashed mended itself instantly, repairing like time reversing. They were trapped. The father realized the house wasn't cursed, it was hungry. Night arrived swiftly, darker than any before, and the whispers behind the door grew louder, no longer sorrowful, but eager. The portraits along the hallway changed. Painted eyes followed them, lips curled subtly, as if smiling at their panic. The son, Thomas, attempted to burn the cursed room, but the flames died the moment they touched the threshold, leaving only a smell of smoke and failure. At midnight, the door creaked open again on its own, revealing Lily and the mother standing inside, motionless, eyes pale and hollow like drained memories. They stared ahead without recognition. The rocking chair moved behind them, and the woman in the white dress emerged, ethereal and cold, her presence bending the air. She pointed to the father and Thomas without speaking, yet her meaning was clear. The father stepped forward, pleading, offering himself in exchange for his family. The room responded with a gust of freezing wind, pulling him inside. Thomas reached out to stop him, but he vanished into the darkness like breath in winter. The door swung shut once more. Silence swallowed the corridor. When it opened moments later, only Thomas remained in the house. The whispers ceased. The house exhaled. 3 souls were gone, just as the note promised. Thomas fled through the front door, now wide open as if the house itself dismissed him. He ran until dawn lit the sky, never looking back. Years later, the Harrison house still stands empty at the town's edge. Some nights, passers-by hear a rocking chair creaking through the walls, or see warm light beneath a locked door. No one enters. No one dares. The house keeps its debts paid, and waits patiently for the next family who believes it is only a house in need of repair.